are these people?
Go to my website.
And at that website, there's also merch. So there's a button to pick up an INN t-shirt.
Buy my merch right quick.
Oh, check out that merch. Check it out. Oh, Reese wearing a beanie. Look at that. Oh, he's heating up his dab rig right now. So yes, you can get an INN beanie over at the merch store too. You go to indienewsnow.com, click on the merch store, and you can pick up one for yourself. The lightning round. I mentioned it earlier. I talked about this article from Dissent in Bloom, which is about Alligator Alcatraz, or Auschwitz, which has been ordered to be closed by the state of Florida. And because of it, that gave ICE and Homeland Security the ability or an opportunity to scatter these people and to disappear some of them potentially. So according to Dissent in Bloom, and according to these reports, 1,800 men went into Alligator Alcatraz, but only 600 came out. They weren't released, and they weren't deported. They simply vanished from the camp, and no one will say where they went. 800 show no record at all, like they were never even there. Another 450 are listed with no location and only the message, quote, call ICE for details. That's frightening. Right? After August 21st, they were given 60 days to dismantle the camp. Not relocated, not released, not deported with paperwork, just disappeared. Over 1,200 human beings are simply gone. This is not a paperwork error. More than 1,200 people have gone missing from a U.S. government facility, and no one in power can say where they are? There's no records of transfer, no confirmed releases, no deportation documents, and no death certificates either. Families are calling every number they can find and getting silence. Lawyers say their clients were removed from rosters without notice, often just hours before a scheduled visit. When they ask where they went, no one answers. The detainee disappears, and so does the paper trail. ICE blames the state. Florida blames ICE. No one provides names, dates, or destinations. No public list of who went in and who came out. And meanwhile, over 1,200 people are simply gone. You don't misplace that many people by accident. You move them in secret. You delay contact just long enough and make sure that nobody outside the system can follow. This is a pattern. This is intent. This is what ICE is doing. Fuck ICE. Okay. So read the rest of this article. I'll put a link to it again in the description afterwards. But this isn't the only thing that ICE is up to. Here's something that's a little bit more important than the Jimmy Kimmel distraction narrative. Here's a free speech issue of our time. Mahmoud Khalil has been ordered to be deported to Syria or Algeria. Yep. Gross. So I don't know, I'm sure they're going to try to appeal this, but at some point he may end up sent and gone. Damn. And they want to do this to like I said, they're trying to do this to anyone that spoke out against Israel, against their genociding Palestinian people. And this guy, he was even opposed to the protesting. He was literally trying to be a mediator between the people that took over Hins Hall and the NYPD on the outside, trying to get them out of the building. He was the one person that they trusted to go inside. And now they've targeted him and they're sending him away. All right. So fuck ICE and the Trump administration for that. And I hate Politico, but they've got the story. All right. The third fuck ICE story is also really frightening, having to do with Chicago. Now, this is Jenn Budd. Jenn Budd is a Border Patrol whistleblower. She's written a book called Against the Wall, former senior patrol agent for Border Patrol turned immigrant rights activist. she uses her Substack money to help fund like water for immigrants and stuff, like water barrels. Great person, great writer. Starting to move her stuff over to Ghost because she doesn't like people on this platform. But thankfully, she hasn't completely left. Okay, but she pointed this out about a story in Chicago. All right. And this is going to have captions and you'll be able to see what's going on here. But they try to get this 19-year-old girl to make a statement. They pulled over a family, again, similar to what happened with Natalia in a way, over an illegal U-turn. In Natalia's case, Anthony Malecki's sister-in-law, it was over a registration potential violation that wasn't even a violation. But in this case, let's watch this real quick.
It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
ICE detains parents on their 10-year-old son's birthday.
We don't answer questions.
If you tell me he's a citizen, we'll let him go.
We don't answer questions.
A family birthday celebration ended in heartbreak after U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents detained two parents and their 22-year-old son. The family lawyer told CNN that undocumented Mexican immigrants Constantina Ramirez and Moises Enciso and their adult son were detained outside Chicago during a traffic stop after an illegal U-turn. The parents do not have criminal records. The son, who was detained and later released, has pending deferred action for childhood arrival status, or DACA.
He's allowed to be here.
We will let him go.
I'm sorry, we don't answer questions.
Just listen to me. If you tell me he's a citizen, we'll let your brother go.
The family lawyer said the 19-year-old daughter, who recorded the video, refused to answer questions because she is wary of ICE agents and knows her Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. In a statement, the Department of Homeland Security told CNN that ICE did not arrest or, quote, pressure any children to answer questions. DHS also said that both parents will remain in ICE custody pending removal proceedings.
That's your brother, right?
That's my brother.
Is he born here, yes or no?
We don't answer questions until our lawyers.
Listen, man.
That's it.
I'm trying to help you out here.
It's okay.
I did it already.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm trying to help you out while I'm arresting your parents.
Don't worry. It's okay.
Right.
Immigration records show that Ramirez and Enciso are being held at separate detention centers in Kentucky and Michigan.
It's okay. It's okay. It's fine.
Why?
It's fine. It's fine.
Why are they sending them to other states to hold them?
We're fine.
Michigan and Kentucky. This
American bullshit.
An Illinois family. Now, they did not have a criminal record. They likely were not here legally. And now that this dragnet has been thrown up, and now that ICE is just randomly stopping people in the streets, they're now catching, quote unquote, people who have been here for years or more, decades, that are part of the community, that have been solid, members of society, but now they just are just going to toss them into a jail and deport them or keep them detained and locked up indefinitely. And it's horrible what's happening here. Again, between what we've seen and I said here, why did they take one to Kentucky and one to Michigan? The separation is part of the cruelty intended. All right? He wasn't trying to help them. I'm trying to help you out. No, you're not, because anything you say can and will be used against you and your family in a court of law. There is no doubt about it. Even if their 10-year-old son was born here, that would make him a citizen, I believe. Yeah, Natalie, that's right. They don't care. It's not a meritocracy. It's fascism. And that's really what's going on here for people that haven't recognized that yet. Now, get your audio ready. I'll do it.
Coming to a Substack newsletter near you.
This week, Kamala Harris joined Substack. And perfect. So what do? We did it, Joe. We did it.
Do not come.
Basically, I
Do
wish
not
we.
come.
I
Do
wish
not
she
come.
didn't. I wish she didn't come. I'm guessing that she did not write this. She's clearly, because if she wrote something of her own, it would be cringeworthy as hell. Okay, 2 of the trendings. Okay, so there's somebody wrote an article that was penned under her name. I'm not going to read it, but just the point of the corporate invasion and the mainstream invasion of Substack, in my opinion, is now complete. We didn't need Rachel Maddow, but if Kamala Harris and Joyanne Reid are here, I would say that Substack has gone mainstream. Yes, Dissent in Bloom. Oh, my dear Lord Jesus. That is correct.
I call myself a joyful warrior.
No, I call you a drunken warrior, but that's a whole other story.
Never let anyone take your joy from you.
Or your alcohol. That's right. Now, I did want to bring this other story from another Indie Media Award honoree, Common Dreams, talking about the ramping up of fascism and how journalism is not a crime and how they are now trying to Israelize the media here in making anyone that reports on the media, on the military, now get cleared by the military. Trump's new restrictions on Pentagon reporters should alarm every American. And John Queally, who is the managing editor over at Common Dreams, stepped out from behind his editor's desk to write this one. He doesn't write very often.
Pentagon.
That's correct. Pentagon. Okay. Journalists and defenders of press freedom are expressing alarm and condemnation after the Pentagon, under the command of a President Donald Trump and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, Drunken Pete, Whiskey Pete, announced new restrictions on reporters that include pre-approval of stories that include even unclassified material and a new pledge not to publish any material without permission from government officials. How about now? New York Times, among the first to report on a 17-page memo detailing the new rules, noted how the, quote, move could drastically restrict the flow of information about the U.S. military to the public. Like they're intending. The National Press Club. Thank you. The National Press Club was quick to rebuke the restrictions as an assault on the public's right to know and fundamental journalistic freedoms, which is exactly the point. Quote, the Pentagon is now demanding that journalists sign a pledge not to obtain or report any information, even if it's unclassified, unless it's been expressly authorized by the government? This is a direct assault on independent journalism at the very place where independent scrutiny matters most, the $1 trillion a year funded U.S. military.
I can't tell you that. It's classified.
Here you've got Seth Stern, director of advocacy at Freedom of the Press Foundation. I've got my issues with them. Explained to the Times that the government is prohibited by law from demanding journalists surrender their right to investigate the government in exchange for access or credentials. Quote, this policy operates as a prior restraint on publication, which is considered the most serious of First Amendment violations. They don't care. They wipe their ass with the Constitution. The government cannot prohibit journalists from public information merely by claiming it's a secret or even it's a national security threat. Except that's exactly what they've been doing for 20 years, at least. All right. In comments to WAPO, Katie Fallow, Deputy Litigation Director at the Knight First Amendment Institute at Columbia University. Look, you've even got the Zionists at Columbia University, man. Called the new policy part of the Trump administration's broader assault on free speech and press freedom, which it is. Any journalist, she added, who publishes only what the government authorizes is doing something other than reporting. I believe a man named Julian Assange said something similar.
Yeah.
All right. The journalism is publishing something that people don't want published. Everything else is just PR or stenography.
WikiLeaks, the Julian Assanges.
Individual journalists, including veteran reporters who've covered the Pentagon for years or decades, also chimed in. Of course, they have. Okay. Taropin said that the rule forbidding the unapproved release of unclassified material, sometimes marked with the acronym CUI, is an incredibly broad and ill-defined rule that could easily be abused. Again, that is their intent. Can't say that enough. So, again, alarming. You need to know that this is what's happening, and you're going to get a lot more sanitized military stories coming out and a lot less stories critical of the U.S. military. Next, I did have a little bit of a fuck Israel segment, and I wanted to bring this video from Anas al-Sharif, one of the still remaining Palestinian journalists, thank goodness. A scene of madness. How can a child's heart endure terror, this kind of terror? How can a father's mind comprehend the survival attempts? Gaza is being exterminated stone by stone and person by person. And I want you to take note of what they're running out, like the background and the scenes while they're running, and what you see. And let's go. Running for their lives.
يا الله انفجارات ضخمة داخل مدرسة النيل الآن يا الله يا الله يا رب.
I mean, just with no time. I mean, just run for your lives. Literally, run for your lives. Here's another one. The Israeli forces reached the Shifa hospital on September 17th. That was 4 days ago. At the square, and asked the family to leave, promising them safety. They numbered 13 people. As soon as they appeared in the street, they were hit by tank shells and all 13 were killed. Translation: Israeli forces reached the Shifa hospital square, ordered a family of 13 to leave, assuring them safety. As soon as they stepped onto the street, they were struck by tank shells and all were killed. Muhammad Smiri. Okay. And then we've also got one more. 2 brave Australian doctors share horrifying testimonies of their first week volunteering in Gaza, specifically their 2 days currently in Gaza City, where Israel is ethnically cleansing nearly 1 million Palestinians and committing horrific massacres to exterminate anyone who remains. And the second half of the video is below. She says, one of them says, we had a beheaded lady come in 9 months pregnant. They had to deliver her with an emergency C-section, and luckily the baby survived. Let's listen to what they have to say. Let's listen to these brave. This is almost 5 minutes. This is long, but we'll do a little sample.
Here's Dr. Nada Aburob and Dr. Saya Aziz. We're 2 doctors from Australia. We're here in Gaza at the moment. We arrived in the middle in Al-Aqsa hospital first, where the situation was disastrous, where we're having kind of kids coming after a strike. With most of like, let's say 70 to 80% of our patients are kids and pregnant women. And the situation was terrible, and there was no water, no food, and people living in the hospital everywhere. It was very common for a person to be the only survivor of their family. Everyone has lost most of their family. It was very hard for us to get in, and there was a lot of restrictions. We were not allowed to bring any baby formula, any money, and the cards don't work. We are hardly surviving and hardly able to help anyone. There's no equipment. They're down to the very basics, running out of working scissors. There's no soap in the theatre room to scrub in, no gloves, nothing at all. We're treating patients on the floor, mass casualty after mass casualty. They're using all the weapons. However, when we came north to Al-Shifa Hospital, it's a nightmare. It is a nightmare. We're doing this video because we know that we might die at any time, unfortunately. Our accommodation is in the old delivery room. As you can see, this is the hospital. It's all bombed, but the bombing is still happening. When we came from the middle to the north, we saw people are evacuating. Instead of 20 minutes on the road, it took us around 8 hours to reach. As soon as we reached, bombing after bombing with the Apache, F-35, F-16, rowboats, all sorts of weapons attacking us from everywhere around the hospital. The number of patients and the number of dead bodies arriving are ridiculous. So we're just basically people dead. We have more than 1,500 people still dead under the rubble in the hospital. Today they bombed just in front of the main entrance of the hospital. 2 days ago.
Look at where they're standing.
The issue is we leave our accommodation is a walking distance. So we could be at any time at that side of the bomb as an internationals. We're not even being, we've been told we'll be given an evacuation order. No even evacuation order as international people. So the situation here is just disastrous. I can't describe it. In the middle of the mass casualty today, there's no internet and no electricity. We're still out of Wi-Fi, so we can't communicate with our family, we can't put our picture up. And they're asking us to stay silent, otherwise our life will be in danger. What does that supposed to mean? We're just telling you what's happening. We're not allowed to show the photos because it's so traumatic and not allowed to post. But we're documenting this as part of what's happening for the future. Because someone needs to see this. Someone needs to help those poor people. Most of them are just kind of people, or they're just kind of hitting things randomly. There are doctors. Doctors here don't come to work because they're dead. Their family members are dead. Or they've been told to go to the south, at least to save themselves from being killed. So anyone who stays here, they know that they will be killed and they can't come back. So the situation needs to stop. I don't know what to say, but I'm asking for help. And I know that our life is in danger too. So if the help was kind of coming from any part of the world, just can anyone be able to stop this terror and horror, please? Anyone, could you please stop it? People here had enough. We had enough. There's no word to describe. Not sure, sorry, Dr. Said.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sayed Aziz. I'm an anaesthetist who works in Australia, and essentially I'm in a state of shock. We're in Al Shifa Hospital. We've been here a week. It took us 2 attempts to try and get up to the north to come to Al Shifa, and we thought it was devastating in Shuhada Al-Aqsa Hospital, where we spent a couple of days, and we come to Al Shifa and it is catastrophic. It's catalytic. I can't even begin to explain how horrific the situation is. From an anesthetic point of view, so many simple things that should be straightforward, it's just non-existent. So we have patients walking into theatre. We have patients coming in asking how.
Yeah, there's the rest of it here. There's another 5 minutes. You guys have heard enough. I mean, again, brave. Again, as Pav said, these women have more balls than the entire IDF. Because they're going into harm's way, knowing they're going into harm's way, knowing that they might be killed at any moment, and all they want to do is help patch up the people that are being attacked. That's just, wow. Amazing. Fuck Israel for that too. I also wanted to mention this website, Quiver Quantitative, quiverquant.com. All right. They have been tracking congressional stock trades. And they posted a couple of things this week that I found interesting about lawmakers that are profiting off of the market, and specifically off of companies that they may have ties to or are based in their state, or they oversee on a committee. And this one, I've never heard of Representative Cleo Fields before, but I find it interesting that he bought a stock in Bitcoin mining called IREN, and it's the first time that any politician has ever bought the stock. And in just over 2 months, the stock's up 121%. Nobody wants to investigate. Nobody wants to ask a question. How did this guy know? And 121%, that's a nice gain. That's a nice profit in 2 months. But he ain't the only one. We've also got this guy, Tim Moore, who sits on the House Subcommittee on AI. He bought stock in Intel recently on August 1st, which is already up 62%, almost like he knew that they were going to make an announcement that they were giving shares to the Trump administration and that Trump was, giving Intel some kind of a favor, and maybe even that Intel was going to be making a deal with NVIDIA. And NVIDIA was going to be investing, I think they announced $50 billion into Intel. For NVIDIA, by the way, that's nothing. NVIDIA is worth over $4 trillion. So 50 billion compared to 4 trillion, it's like 0.5% of its net worth. It's still a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of what NVIDIA is worth, the investment in Intel is small, but it helped Intel's stock jump from in the mid-20s all the way up to over $30 a share. Again, this guy bought at, buy low, sell high, right? Isn't that what they tell you? So this is the day he bought when it turned green. Right when the market bottomed. What amazing timing. But of course, we can't possibly show a Quiver Quant without the reason why Quiver Quant exists in the first place. That's correct, Mastermind Hour. Nancy Pelosi.
Quiver what?
All right. But her NVIDIA stock's done very well. Her Visa stock's done even better. But the newest one that's gone crazy this year is an AI company called Tempest AI. And my buddy told me about them a few months ago and asked if I had invested in them. And I said, no, I had not. I hadn't even heard of it. But he apparently threw a couple of bucks in because he figured if Nancy's going to make money on it, it's probably going to do pretty well. Again,
no point in saying good morning.
She bought in the 30s, right? And right now it's sitting somewhere around almost 90. So you're talking about almost tripling your money.
Have a good time with your Bitcoin.
Since the 14th of January. And that's, again, just one stock or just one security. And by the way, their portfolio is now worth over $260 million. So one security isn't going to change a whole lot one way or another. That's a funny one. I've never heard that one before. Pig Losi. Very funny, Red Angel. Thank you. Yeah. Matching her bra size. Oh, come on, man. 260 million? That's I don't think that she's a 260 million around. That's a pretty big size. All right. But so that was Quiver Quant. Finally, Dissent in Bloom wrote an article last Saturday that she actually added me as a co-author to, because the Dominic Michael Trippi research that I had done and the article that I had published back in May was cited and included, and then she piggybacked on top of it and did her own research about Mr. Trippi. That is in the section called Not All Propagandists Are Famous, right? And she talks about him and does a little bit of more background and shows some of the things that I didn't show, like a couple of Facebook comments that had criticized him, the fact that he had a couple of DWIs, license revocations, a probation violation, and a lawsuit. All right. Now, he very famously recently, it's really interesting. He's shown as the CEO of a company called World Independent Media, I believe. World Independent News. It doesn't exist. But when Owen Schroyer left InfoWars, the next day, they announced that he would be launching a new channel under the organization, a newly launched organization, World Independent News. But the only business ever registered under that name at this point was a short-lived LLC in Oregon owned by a 78-year-old man who shut it down in 2007. That, again, further piggybacks on the research that I had done about this cat. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about, even more about the story, go check out this article. This also talked a lot about some of the other propagandists out there, it did address the situation with Charlie Kirk. And this was written just a couple of days after that whole situation happened in Utah. Talking about how you're not immune to propaganda. Everyone is subject to it, right? The word's been beaten to death, slapped on everything from CNN to Fox News to TikToks about oat milk. But propaganda is not just old World War II posters of Hitler or grainy films from your history class. It's alive. It's happening right here, right now, shaping what you see and how you think, from your social media feed to the evening news. And of course, you were never taught to notice it. Why would America teach its children how to recognize the lies it feeds them? Why would a system hand you the tools to dismantle the disinformation that it depends on to survive? Think about it. They're never going to give you... Right. So by all means, check out that article. And then we'll do really quickly, because it's midnight, the GoFundMes. Our friend Chanda has been going through fighting small cell lung cancer, and her cancer came back recently. She posted the other day on Friday, I think, or Thursday, just a quick update. I finished 10 rounds of radiation to the legs and ribs this week. I really think it helped, but we won't know till it heals. She starts round 2 of chemo officially on Monday. This one will be much stronger. Damn it, she just got her hair to a place she liked. Girl, well, just hair. She'll go for 3 days every 21 until December 11th. She's hoping to do some live updates. Her and Oz plan on doing a big Halloween show for Beauty and the Boomer. They were live this past Saturday. So she's got goals. And being healthy enough to do a show for all of us is one of those goals, and we love her for it. Thanks for all the donations this week. It's a huge help to know she can get all the help that she needs to start another round, and couldn't do it without everyone here. So thank you to everyone. Please support Chanda in her fight. This again is a link to her GoFundMe and her latest update. And then I also wanted to shout out again Anthony Malecki, who has been fighting on behalf of his sister-in-law, Natalia. There's a GoFundMe for her. How she came to the U.S. with her daughter to pursue a better life, fleeing an abusive ex-husband in the Ukraine who threatened to kill her. Her entire family's here, and now she's being abused by a fascist police state, torturing her for the profits of the prison industrial complex. But worse, they're threatening to deport her now back to Ukraine and separate her from her child and put her child into the foster care system. So, and again, this Natalia story is here. They still need some funds to be raised. And again, I will drop the link to this campaign as well. So if anybody has some money there to be able to help, please do, because this is, like we talked about earlier, ICE is sweeping people off the streets, even if they didn't necessarily do anything wrong. If they don't have the legal documentation to be here, they're going to be put through a process where they're deported. And it's awful, even if they're doing the right things like she was. Finally, Indie News Now. I've mentioned this website a few times tonight. This is what it looks like right now. It is constantly being updated with new content, new articles, new videos as they're being published. All right, there's also a section here to keep the news free. This is where you can support us with Stripe, with a credit card, Cash App, Google Pay, anything you can think of here. You can pay there and support us, as well as the link to the merch store, which is here, and the link to watch live. So we are live here. You can actually even see the chat in a Discord server if you click on the link to here. But this is us actually live right now over at IndieNewsNow.com. It's delayed by a few seconds. So this is the website that I put a lot of time and effort into making sure this works. You can see again, it's already been updated with new content, and it's constantly updating around the clock. So bookmark IndieNewsNow.com. Come back here often, and there will be new fresh content every time you reload it, basically. And again, free to all. Free to all. We don't advertise. We don't do sponsorships. and we don't run ads on here. This is not a monetized website. This originally started so I had a place to be able to do the research from all one location, but it is really helpful and useful as a website for more than me to use. I know that Reef and Colin use it to curate INN News sometimes, and that Angel has been using it more to find stories for Angel in the Afternoon. We also have this nice little handy language translator, so if you do speak a foreign language, you can translate the website, not the articles that it leads to, but at least the links and the titles and who the authors are into a bunch of different languages. Love you all. Thank you for hanging out. Support independent media because we need it more than ever. We'll see you soon, fam. No! We just fucking lost the stream!
I think I liked it better being blind, when I couldn't read between the lines, and when I couldn't see the cracks in the structure that lay bare before me the whole time. I think I liked it better back when I suspended disbelief and swallowed pride. I thought I knew the difference in the red from the blue, but they both bleed us so dry. They both bleed us so dry.
My favorite songs don't hit the same way. I get to the end of a 4-minute track and I'm only looking back thinking, what did they actually say?
Can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. Why play civil if you won't listen to 50,000 dead? And now we know our mission, we form a militia, make Congress a prison.